The statement that you said with it's okay to not feel okay, I love the extra layer that I've heard, which is like it's okay to not feel okay, but it's
Yeah, play that back.
big. I mean, because I don't like saying I go through that stuff because I think everyone goes through ebbs and flows. I got a lot of questions that are going to be coming up, and I do like to preface people like it's not me being confrontational in the slightest. Like it's intrigue, because mental health, I find personally, it's such a tricky topic, you know. So with the songs, and this is where like what do you look for in the songs? Is it how well it hits? Is it like, is there criteria that you're looking for that makes a song better for mental health or whatnot?
Sure.
Because I see that usually it's the ones that address the actual fucked upness. For example, like 21 Pilots is one of my favorite bands.
Yep.
He doesn't glorify it. He doesn't try and say that it's okay to feel that way. He just says he feels that way.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of liberation in the people that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, it is what it is.
That's so really strange that you should say that about feeling and about being okay and feeling okay. I've literally just had a conversation before coming in about that very topic. There's a lot of people who say, you know, it's okay not to be okay versus it's okay not to feel okay. And for me, there's a really big difference between the two. And to your point about 21 Pilots, you know, how you're feeling, that talks to everybody, right? Everyone's had a day where they don't feel so good or they feel down. So for me to open up the conversation about mental health and really tap into everyone's psyche, it's a case of, you know, let's talk about that feeling, right? You've had a bad breakup, or you've lost a family member, or lost a job, or whatever it may be. The feelings that associate to that are an impact on our mental health, because everyone's got mental health, just varying degrees of it. From
I like to call it mental fitness, just because I personally feel like the term mental health now, this is just my opinion, I feel like it's been so overused that it's like, I know that a lot of people hear it, it's sort of like whereas I'm like, I'm just training the fitness.
Yeah. And it is, it's, you know, it's the whole thing of mental health and, you know, people talking about breaking the stigma or smashing the stigma or whatever it is. The word stigma has now become stigmatized because so many people are talking about it, you know? So yeah, whatever works. I like mental fitness as well. Just like when you talk about your physical health, physical fitness,
Exactly.
it's the same thing. And yeah, there's kind of, in trying to get it to be okay and raise awareness and talking about mental health, it's almost, like you said, got to a point where people hear mental health and they automatically go to, this is going to be a depressing, downbeat. I don't want to talk about that. And it's actually, no, we all have it. We all have different degrees of it. When we talk about it, don't think it's going to be downbeat and depressing. So when we talk about our kind of songwriting competition and the themes that we have, we purposely have them as positive themes. So we don't have like a theme of depression one year, for instance.
Yeah.
This year's theme was connection, and we just thought with isolation and everything else going on, the thing that people really crave and want is connection. So when we do the judging and we look into, you know, what makes a good song, we have our typical categories for that. So we have, you know, things like arrangement, structure, all that. But then we have relevance to theme. Right. So we look and delve into the lyrics. There's a few songs each year that don't have any lyrics and they're instrumental, and we look at how that ties to mood and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a real even split between the two. And in previous years, we've had incredible songs not make it through to the semi-finals because it just didn't talk to the theme at all. And we thought we've got to be true to the fact that this is a mental health songwriting competition. We can't just put a banger through that has nothing to do with it whatsoever.
100%. Yeah. Well, it's the statement that you said with it's okay to not feel okay, I love the extra layer that I've heard, which is like, it's okay to not feel okay, but it's not okay to stay there.
Yeah.
Meaning that there's that thing which, like, you have your own personal responsibility to make yourself okay. And I think that's where it's like that whole mental health, mental fitness space does get that shutter mode, because my fear a little bit with a lot of organizations out there now, and I'm not familiar with yours, so I can't comment, I fear that it starts to make the topic of being depressed or being like suffering from anxiety a cool thing, and it's kind of like a badge of honor. Whereas like when we sort of just go, all right, there are people out there who suffer from chronic depression and chronic anxiety. So this is not they're a small percentage of the population. A lot of people, though, I feel now, like I've said to people before, I'm like, you're not depressed. You're going through a shit patch and you're reacting to that response.
Yeah.
And as soon as you say that, it's like you're being insensitive. You're being this. Like, I cannot tell you. I mean, like Stace, Jamie, they can both tell you the amount of shit on social media I get about how I'm insensitive. I'm telling, like, based on what I'm saying, someone's likely to go commit suicide for that. And I'm like, one, you can't talk to everyone, you know?
No.
But it's like that argument of like, if I know what's helped me through shit times is literally like, in a way, shut up, get over it. And this is not for everyone, but shut up, get over it, figure it out, you know?
And you know what? It's a really, really fine line, right? Because,
Exactly.
And yeah, the sensitivity and sensitivity piece. The example that I always bring it back to is people who are anxious versus people who live with anxiety. Totally different things. So, you know, if you are feeling really anxious about something, but you don't typically live in your normal week or month with anxiety, talk about how you're feeling anxious. Don't say you're living with anxiety. But again, even in that, that's a fine line as well, because
100%.
with any mental health issues or mental illness, it starts somewhere. So that could be the start of onset of anxiety. So you just have to, but what we try to do when it comes to your earlier point about people helping themselves is, there's a phrase that's thrown around in mental health all the time, which I hate, which is saving people's lives, right? For me, saving someone's life as if they're on their phone, looking at the phone, they walk out into the street, they don't see a car coming, you go out and pull them out the way. Yeah. That's saving someone's life,
100%.
right? But when it comes to mental health, I believe that we should be giving people the tools and resources to save themselves. And there is then the onus on them to go, we've given you all these things, we've signposted you, we've given you access to these things. There has to be something from you to take responsibility to want to take those next steps.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people fall down. You know, they feel in this horrible space. And again, to you saying about not feeling okay is okay, but don't stay there. Try to get out of it. There are so many people who know about all the supports, but they just don't take the next step. And it's like, we can handhold you and get you to that support, but then you've got to be the one that picks up the phone, or you're the one that's got to, take that next step.
And it's a long journey too. Like, I mean, one of my tattoos in here, I'll show you it just because, I mean, you can tell I'm really into this topic. It was like when I was 24, I noticed, like, I was super fucking negative. Like, everyone that would walk past, it'd be some sort of judgmental thing. Like, just everything had a negative twist where it was not needed. And it was like that thing we spoke about earlier with, it's not mental health. I sort of, because I've always taken my physical fitness as a thing, like, we get it. Like, you go to the gym, cool. You go to a psychologist, you're a Fruit Loop. Whereas, and I hate, like, that's the stigma that I don't like. Whereas I kind of, it was up at Byron actually at Splendor in the Grass where I had this epiphany. I'm like, all right, this is a muscle, it's a freaking complex one, but I need to start training it in a way. And like, I had that, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's like others over self, think positive, and then blood type for my family.
Wow.
And then if you hold your thumb there, you can feel my pulse. So that's what keeps you alive. So like, it was a really interesting thing to see where my girlfriend at the time, I said to her, we need to start training our brain to be positive. And like anything, you feel like a fucking idiot. You just feel like, I'll see someone like, say, really judgmental, negative thought, like a girl who's got a crop top and it's coming out a bit. Like the asshole in me would be like, ugh, why the fuck would you wear that?
Right.
And then I'll be like, whoa, catch that thought. She's probably really cool. I probably have a lot of laughs with her. That felt so dumb saying it.
Right.
Because it was so uncomfortable. Because again, the momentum was negativity, that to go that way was like hitting the reverse. And it was a very interesting thing seeing that at that time, because I caught it, and then probably like a week later, that girl went the other way and developed like a real heavy bout of depression, went through a lot of other things. And it was just an interesting thing to see that, this is how close you can teeter where if you make that decision to go that way, and I mean, Stacey's always picking me up for like, the way in which you said that was but my goal now is I'm like always like, how do I become likable?
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone wants to be liked. That's the like, everyone wants to be liked. Once you realize, oh, that's my responsibility, not anyone else's. It's like, shit, I need to start being more nicer. I need to start talking to people, lifting people up, not being an asshole. Like weird. You know that saying, like, if you meet 1,000 assholes, maybe you're the asshole. So it's true, isn't it? It's very true.
It's so great.
And I knew a lot of assholes. I was at probably 990 at that point. But yeah, so that's real cool that it's an ownership thing, because that was, again, I knew a little bit about it, and that was, I mean, my biggest thing. I said to Jamie, I'm like, look, I really hope they go this way, because otherwise there might be a bit of an argument on this podcast.
Sure.
Because there is definitely that thing where it's like, if you come out saying you suffer from depression, you could just be in an environmental situation where it's like you don't like your job, but you won't leave it because of fear of money, or you don't like your friends because they're negative, or they're being assholes, like because they are the asshole of this situation.
Yeah.
So it's
interesting you're saying.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that clip. Make sure to hit that like button right now, because when you do, it has been scientifically proven that you will grow an extra inch on your big finger. See you later. Didn't think that was going that way, did you?
No, not at all.